Hey YouTubers, welcome back. Okay, so we're entering a full moon in Capricorn. We've already been under the energies for the past few days, and now it's, rolling into this full moon, which will be, July 9th here. So I wanted to talk to you guys about non-coincidental situations and how to use the energies of the Capricorn moon in order to reflect internally and not cause yourself any sort of turmoil. Okay? Look at it this way. What you're putting out, you're getting back. And this is a full moon that can be pretty dangerous with negativity. Okay? Violence, people of power, manipulation, deceit, lies, conflict, theft, things of that nature, okay? So it's best to not pay attention to conflict, right? Understand that if you're met with a situation that could turn, negative, and it would be you both feeding each other negative energies in regards to arguing, using abusive language, it could turn violent, and full moon energies, people already say, oh, it must be a full moon, out tonight, people are acting crazy or whatever. This is that time where it's going to be crazy. And it's best that you know this and use the energies to your advantage for understanding yourself on a deeper level and understanding that you're a mirror. So if you partake in the negative energy, arguments, you are feeding it, okay? Because it's your attention to it and you putting the energy into any sort of conflict or arguments or anything of a lower vibration, okay? So first I want to share with you what happened to me this morning that was an instant manifestation. Let me tell you this right now. So there's this last karmic situation that I'm dealing with in my life with a person who has been manipulating, using malicious energies and tactics in order to hold me back, make me feel as if I'm powerless, right? So this is coming to a completion, but I already know intuitively that justice will be served, even though I've been meeting my face against the wall. So for this past week, I've been getting this message, okay, to contact a specific person and to send them a detailed, storyline and information, because I'm the type of person that if I don't have documented proof, if I don't have something to prove what it is that I'm saying in regards to something that could be considered hearsay, then it's something that I'm not going to use in order to prove anything, because anybody can say anything, right? But it's the proof. So I have been met with this wall for so long, but it was the unfolding and now gaining so much clarity that it needed to happen this way, and it's not a coincidence. It's happening under the energies that we've been going through. And when I say, when I say tower moments in tarot happen, they happen in order to shake up your world, but it's your attention to what is it shaking up? Is it perceivably when you're in it, it seems like a really bad thing, right? It's like terrible feeling, but it's the clarity you're gaining from the lesson. So the whole entire time, I didn't focus on the lower level energies where it was trying to pull me to. I focused on what I was intuitively being pulled to understand was, you need to experience this right now, and this is happening for your betterment in the whole entire situation, because now there is, another situation and circumstance that was conjured up by another in order to try to destroy you. Now that you have this, you use it to your advantage in order to remove this person from ever holding you back again in your life, right? That's what I know intuitively. So I was sitting outside today at exactly 7:03 this morning. I was writing, sitting outside drinking my coffee, writing, because I was putting together what it is that I am going to be sending to this person, and, going back and forth, questioning myself, right? We all do it, okay? I do it too. because I want to make sure that I'm making the right decision. And so I said to myself, or whoever, I would ask for a yellow butterfly right now, but I know that it's a little too cold outside this morning to ask for a yellow butterfly. So I said, I'm thinking to myself, something else that I don't normally see all the time. Yet I have seen, but it was like over a month ago, I saw a red robin, right? So I said, I want to see a red robin. If I see a red robin and I was facing, off of the porch area, I wasn't facing forward, I was facing to the side. I said, I'm going to continue writing this, but I need validation. If I see a red robin in this peripheral over here, in my, vision, I will take that as, do this now. This is right. I shit you not, guys. It wasn't even 10 seconds later. A red robin flew and landed on one of the electrical cords that runs from my neighbor's house and sat there. I was in complete shock. Like, I could have cried. I could have just started laughing. But at the end of the day, I have full-on goosebumps right now even saying this to you guys. I literally was like, oh my God, like, that was instant. I mean, instant for validation, right? And that quickly it landed. It flew onto the top of their house and flew away. And it didn't come back. It was that freaking quick. True story. Okay? So, I told you, ask for signs, ask for symbols, they will show up for you. So I'm being told by now the sign that I asked instantly, yes, what you've been going over this whole entire week and who you know it is that you need to tell this to is the person who is going to make it right for you. So that's where I'm headed, right? So now let me get into this story for you. The negative energies under the Capricorn moon, right? Oh, excuse me. So, the other day, I'm sitting outside, out back, and my son had gone over to his friend's house to go swimming with a mutual friend of his from across the street. And it's a friend of mine's house. Her son and my son are friends, so they're over there swimming. And I was working that day, so I took a break and I was sitting outside. And my son has a BMX bike. So as he went to go swimming, I thought that he rode his bike over as they go out riding all the time. But he also has an electric scooter, but it's at my mom's, which is right down the street, because the charger's there. So if he does get his scooter, he normally rides his bike over to my mom's, leaves his bike there, takes his scooter out. So I'm sitting out back, and he's gone for a good half an hour. So I'm sitting out back, and I had my headphones in, and I'm listening to something, but then I hear something behind me, and there's a road that wraps around the house because we live at a dead end. There's no other roads that go back because it's all wooded area, but there is a road that wraps around here, right? So all of a sudden I hear this like bike wheels going really quick, and I heard it over my headphones. So I spun around, and it appeared, I thought it was my son, wondering what he's doing because I thought he was swimming. So I thought he was going to come around like he normally does and just shoots through the grass here, right? And I look and I turn around and I'm like, what is he doing? And it's not him, right? So it looked like his bike, but it wasn't him. So my mind didn't go to that's his bike. My mind immediately looked at this kid and was like, oh, you're not my son. And he took off, but never came around this road. So I was sitting there and I was like, where did he go? And I'm looking and looking and looking because there's a house right behind here. And my friend that I live with, it's their cousins. So I'm trying to look around their house because you can't see, past it too far. And the kid was gone. And there's not a road there. You have to come around. So then I was like, oh, there's a little grass trail that goes from the back, alley roads here. There's houses. So I was like, oh, he must have just took that little grass road, whatever. So the next day, my son, where's my bike? I'm not kidding you. I said, what do you mean, where's your bike? My bike is not here. I said, did you take it down to my mom's? I said, didn't you, what do you, no, I left my bike here yesterday. I said, well, didn't you take it to your friends to go swimming? And he said, no. He had walked down to my mom's with his friend from across the street, got his scooter, and then they went over. That was his bike. That little effer stole his bike. So I'm like this. It did not register because why would I think that? First of all, why would my mind go there? My mind first went to, I thought it was my son. I see it's not my son on the bike, and I'm like, okay, it's just some other kid riding bikes because there's a bunch of kids around here that ride their bikes. But my eye went, that was his bike, but it wasn't my son. I'm also not a malicious person, so why would I even be thinking that, right? So now I'm like, oh my God. I said, I saw your bike get taken. I said, I feel so bad right now. I said, Jonah, I did not know it was you. And he goes, are you kidding? Are you kidding? He wasn't mad at me, but I was like, do you understand? Like, I didn't know. He's like, I know. And I'm like, okay. So I described what the kid looked like. So then next thing you know, him and his two friends are on the front porch. I'm telling them what I saw. I said, I feel so dumb. I said, but why would I think that? Whatever. So then this other kid that he's friends with, he knows who the kid is. I said, will you take your butt down to his house right now and tell him this? Your mother said he has one opportunity. He can either give the bike back to you right now, or that bike better manifest back onto the front porch at some point in time today, or I'm going to call the police and send them to his house. I said, I'm fair, so I will give the kid the opportunity to give it back. Don't do it again. And if you don't want to give it back to them because you're embarrassed, then just put it back on the porch at some point in time and walk away. Nobody even needs to see you doing it. If they do, oh well, but put it back. So my son goes down there with his two friends, and this kid is like getting smart with them. And they're all like around the same age. And he said, like, I don't have your bike. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And the other kid says, yeah, you do, because I saw you the other day with your one friend, and I saw that bike. I have my own bike, like the same color. So they come back, and they're like, he says he doesn't have it. He goes, I swear I saw his one friend on it the other day, but I didn't know at the time that it was his bike that the kid was on, his friend. I said, he's saying he has his own bike that's the same color. And he said, yeah. I said, well, I'll tell you what. Go down there. I said, you have your phone. Go down there and take a freaking picture of it and bring it back to me, and I will clarify whether or not that is your bike. So they go down, and they get a picture of it. Because this kid apparently is getting this bike out of one of his sheds in the backyard. This kid has two sheds in his backyard, okay? He's getting it out. They snap a picture of him. They bring it back to me. I said, that's not your bike. I said, come on. I was like, it's not even the same color. But, you know, perceivably, they're kids, like whatever. But it's not his bike. I said, that's not your bike. It's a different color in the same color group, but not the same shade, right? So then it says 1010 over there. So I just have to tell you every time I see a number, 1010. I've been seeing that number like crazy this week too, by the way. So, so they bring it back to me. Now I'm standing in the doorway, like to the front porch. I said, okay, listen. I said, if this kid has it or whatever, I said, keep your eyes out. If you see it anywhere, get a picture. Pictures, photo. Take a photo of it. I said, because if you take a photo, then we have your bike, who's on it, you know, whatever. I said, I know what I saw because I looked the kid dead in his face. So then, next thing you know, here they come. It's the kid who they just took a picture with his bike. He's not on his bike, and he's walking with some girl. Now, these two and my son's one friend, they don't get along with this one boy. They used to, and now they don't anymore, okay? So these three, my son and his two friends, were swimming the day it got taken, so clearly it wasn't them. And now we have these two rolling up, okay? And they are walking straight towards the house. I'm like, okay. Next thing you know, and I know the one girl, but I don't know this boy. They walk into my driveway, and I didn't know it was her at first, and she's like, hi, and I was like, hey. And then I just don't even know. I look right at him. I said, were you the one that came up on my porch the other day and took my son's bike and came whipping around the corner here? I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, oh, now you have an attitude. I said, I'm asking you a question, and I'm an adult. I said, and you're standing in my driveway. I said, did you take my son's bike off of this porch? Because I saw somebody take it, because I looked him dead in the face, and they rode off. I said, and you have a hat on, and the kid who was riding the other day didn't have a hat on, so I don't know if it was you or not. I said, because you have a hat on. I said, but somebody took my son's bike because I saw him do it. And he's continuously getting smart with me. Then goes into, and I'm not stupid, dude, and you don't even know this, but I already know what your freaking bike looks like because the kid showed me what your bike looks like, okay? So this shouldn't even be a question, and you should not be even standing in my driveway getting smart with me. Back up. Like, I cannot tolerate it. Disrespectful, don't even. And why is everybody, this is another thing. I would question my son if he came home and told me that he's being accused of stealing a bike. I would say, why is your name even wrapped up into someone's bike going missing? There's a problem right there. Why are you associated with this? So now all three of these kids are telling me that this kid is associated with taking bikes, not just his, because his one friend, who didn't tell me this till later, his bike went missing last summer, BMX bike. They're all BMX bikes. This kid has some kind of like new BMX bike and, you know, is in all that. So I'm thinking to myself, listen, fool, I'm not one. I am not the one, not today, because if I have to come out of this house and walk anywhere to look for anything, it's not going to be a good scene, okay? Like, I'm getting pissed. So I said, well, then what happened to it? I said, because your name is attached to this whole entire situation. He was like, I have my own bike. I have my own bike that's like the same color. I said, oh, do you? I said, well, then why don't you bring it here and show it to me? Why would I do that? I said, why wouldn't you? I already know it's not his bike, the one that you're going to bring me and show me because they took a photo of it. Why would you question me about showing me your bike? Now, I get it. He's a kid, and he's got an attitude problem. So, of course, he's going to be like, why would I show it to you? Why wouldn't you? If that is the only thing that you needed to do to prove to me that you don't have my son's bike, I'm asking you to show me your bike. I said, go get it. I said, and this whole entire situation's cleared up. Oh, no, he made it even worse now. So he goes, him and her leave, and she's standing there looking like a deer in headlights. So I'm like, you might as well just say you did it because you look guilty as all hell, okay? You're not like, you know, looking at him. You're staring at me like a deer in headlights, and I'm telling you that I saw a kid take it, and it was like, she was like, oh, no, you know? I'm like, no. So they leave. He literally lives like a block away. It should take you not even 5 minutes, especially if you're on a freaking bike. No, 15 minutes later, here he comes rolling up with her. I said, I already know what bike he's going to show me. So I said, yeah, I know that's not his bike. Well, here comes his brother, who may be like 2 years older than him, and their father, okay? And I looked at the dad, and I said, no, that's not his bike. And he goes, yeah, he was like, I bought him that bike last year because his bike went missing last year. His bike got stolen last year. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, his name is being thrown around as he's the one taking these bikes. I said, so he came rolling up, you know, towards my house. I said, clearly he had something to say because he walked in my driveway. I said, so I questioned him, and he got an attitude with me about showing me this bike. I said, but I already knew what the bike looked like that he was going to come show me because they already showed me a photo of it. And the dad's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. He's like, it's unfortunate. He's like, you know, what did you guys tell me? Like, kids are going around and stealing bikes for parts. Now, why would you say that to me? Why would you say that to me? Why would that even be something that you would think about? Basically, what he was saying to me, because I could see all angles and right through you, was screw off, buy your son a new bike, because this one's already stripped down for parts. Yeah. All right, now you just made me even more mad. If he would have just walked off, I would have said to the kids, listen, you don't have it, only unless you get a photo of him on it. It's a closed case. I'm not calling the police because what am I going to tell them? Your bike got stolen? They're going to say, okay, we have a report. Your bike got stolen, closed case. You know what I mean? I'm not calling them only unless I have something to go off of that's going to be informative because clearly this is somebody who is running some little malicious operation, right? So then, the friend that is mutual friends with them knows a little bit more information than they know he knows more information than he should, and that is why she looked like a deer in headlights, because she was afraid that this kid was going to tell me. Well, he did. He ended up spilling it. He was like, I have to tell you. I said, what? Tell me now. He was like, that girl up behind her house, because behind our house, like I said, is all woods. But you can't go back there because it's illegal, okay, to go back in these wooded area, because there's a quarry and all kinds of other things on the other side of the hill. So you can't go back. Plus, there's shooting ranges on the other side of the hill. Like, you can't go back there. Plus, there's, like, all kinds of weird animals. I always call it the, like, generic Lion King back there. Like, if you could burn down all the trees, like, and the little rodents back there, you'd be like, what? So, I'm serious. You should see some of the stuff that comes out of it. I've never seen it before in my life. So, it's just funny. Because the neighborhood I live in is actually really nice. It's just, you know, it is what it is. So, they tell me that behind her house is a teepee that they built up like this little hill behind her yard. And they have toolboxes and stuff in there, and he has seen them take bikes up there. I said, okay, listen, when were you going to tell me this? I said, can you get there? And he goes, yeah, but you have to go through her yard. Now, I know the girl's mom. I said, well, go through the yard and go up there. I know her mom's at work anyway. And if she knows my son, I would say, you know, he's looking for something. Call me, whatever. I don't care. I'm telling you as an adult, go up there. I'm not climbing up there. So the one boy's like, yeah, but I just, like, I'm afraid. I said, okay, listen, if you're afraid, then don't do it or whatever. I said, but unless you have some sort of tangible evidence or whatever, there's nothing more I can do about this situation. So, of course, you know, get my son a new bike or whatever, but I'm just like, there's nothing else I can do about this. But I'm like this. They got me fired up, okay? I saw the kid take the bike. The dad's telling me they're stripping bikes for parts. These kids are like 11, 12 years old. You know what I mean? I'm like, what are you doing? Whack jobs, right? So malicious, like, buy your own stuff? Like, what's wrong with I can't even tolerate it. And the fact that the little effer had the nerve to come up onto the porch, which is it's a little bit of a walk to get up onto my porch. Okay? It's not like the porch is right on the road. So he literally rode it through my grass to the back end of the house and whipped around so that nobody could see that he took it. Yet, I saw him. Just didn't register. So they go up a different way. They found a different way to get to this teepee, right? And they get a photo of it, but there's trees everywhere. And the one little boy says to me, this is the only photo that we could get because we heard somebody and we saw somebody's back of their head behind it on the other side, and they were trying to get up to it, like, and obviously you're walking through sticks. Well, then they heard, like, footsteps on the sticks up there, so they bolted, right? Understandable. But they did get a photo of it, and the one little boy contested that he saw a blue bike, a bunch of parts to a blue bike taken apart that was laying next to this, like, teepee thing, which was made out of, like, these big giant sticks, a blue tarp, like, cinder blocks and, like, wired rusted fence, like, hepatitis all up in there, like, baseball bats and everything else they said was up there. I'm not kidding you. This is not a joke. So this was doing all day the other day. So they bring me this photo back. I said, all right, listen, my son's father was coming to pick him up, the person who I cannot tolerate. But I told him to tell his dad, take his dad up there, he's a dude, whatever. Don't you freaking know. Because not only did they see this bike on the ground that was in pieces, through the tarp, there was a little opening. They could see pieces of bike tires and stuff. And the one boy stated they have toolboxes up there. So I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Then he finally spills it and says last year he saw that kid and that girl drag a red and black bike up there. And the friend of his whose bike got stolen last year puts his head down and goes, that was my bike. Because his bike was a red and black BMX bike. And the other little boy who said that goes, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was your bike. He goes, I didn't take it or do anything to it. I just saw them doing it. See, perceivably, those two are trying to make this kid out that hangs out with my son and his other friends as a bad guy. Perception, right? No, he's not. Projection. These two are the problem, okay? So I called the police. I reported it and everything, and they have been scoping the area, and they've been finding pieces of bikes here and there, because guess what? As soon as those kids were heard trying to go up that hill to take pictures, the stuff disappeared. The bikes, the bike pieces, the tires. Disappeared. Not up there. Because why? Because they know that my kid's friend knows too much information about Operation TP, and heard them walking up there. Somebody saw them. They knew, they told me. After the dad said that, what happened? Moved. I already know this. I already know this. They're going to get caught. They're going to get caught. Because they're children, and they'll think, a few days passes, quiets down, they didn't find anything. This stuff will manifest back there, because that's their little clubhouse hideout. Steal people's shit, break it apart, and do what with it, I don't know, probably sell it, who knows. But the thing is, at the end of the day, the police know now, and they will periodically check that place to see what's going down. So I already know they will get caught. But all of that was to happen for a reason, and I am not the one. First of all, this little kid, I was like, you are on my property getting smart with me. You better back up onto the street. But then at the end of the day, he did what I asked him to, but he had to go get his dad. Why would you go get your dad, punk? You tough little dude want to get smart with me, but then you didn't say one word when your dad was around. Not one word came out of that little kid's mouth when his dad was there. Would you go get your dad to save you, or get your dad to cover up for you? Because your dad knows what you do. Perception. I told you. Perception. You see something, they say something, you're supposed to believe it because it's the Father speaking for him. But who's to say that the Father isn't in on it? I'm not dumb. But Capricorn energies, right? Malicious energies. Theft. It's real. It's real. So I just wanted to share those two. You know, the first one was I wanted to start with the good news and then go into that. Even though it's like, it is what it is. It's a learning experience. But guess what I uncovered? A little operation that's going to end up getting shut down so that they don't steal anything any longer from these good kids in the neighborhood and making out the good kids to be the bad kids. Right? Everything happens for a reason. Understand and trust that. And I'm not the one. I'm not the one to say those types of things to, because I'm like, why did your mind go there? Why would you even say that to me? Why do you know that? And why is that not reported to the police? Why didn't you tell that to the police? Because they didn't know that when I told the police the Father said that to me. They didn't have any idea that that was something that, you know, they're the police, right? They think the kids are stealing the bikes and, you know, using them, giving them to their friends. I said no. The dad specifically said to me that they heard or know of these kids going around stealing these bikes and using them for parts. Why wouldn't you go report that? Right? What kind of freaking world do we live in? Like, seriously. Like, I'm like, you can't even keep anything on your front porch safely. And I told you, I'm not in a bad neighborhood. Like, this is a nice residential neighborhood. People take care of their lawns. Like, their houses are, like, nice. I'm like, you can't even... And I don't know who this family is because they haven't lived here that long. So, but now you know. Don't judge a book by its cover. Really, really freaking don't, because you never know. You never freaking know, right? Okay. I'm going to be coming back with a overall energy reading for the rest of the weekend and also a soulmate reading. Okay? Love you guys. Bye.